Welcome. My name is Karen Field Bullock, and this is lesson number 6 in my course, A Spiritual Path to True Love. This lesson is a continuation of the segment on love and love's opposites. In the previous lesson, you heard about some basic elements and expressions of love, and I talked about shadow opposites. A shadow opposite is not a direct opposite of love, but a missing piece in the puzzle of your love relationship, the absence of which casts a shadow of gloom over the entire relationship, even though other types, elements, and expressions of love are in place. At the end of that lesson, I also mentioned a set of opposites that I call dynamic opposites. And that is my topic for today. Dynamic opposites is the term I prefer for opposing forces that are both basically good, but only when kept in balance. One example of dynamic opposites in everyday life is competition versus cooperation. If you at your workplace, for example, you have nearly all competition and next to no cooperation, you're in a hostile environment. Or if there's almost all cooperation and virtually no competition at your workplace, the atmosphere may be very pleasant, but people don't grow much. By striking the right balance of competition and cooperation, a workplace functions best. Okay, so the dynamic opposites in love that I want to present to you today are the forces of passion versus compassion, or more precisely, passionate attraction and desire, eros, versus compassion or agape. These are both types of love, so they're both good. But in a romantic relationship, they stir up opposing forces because when you fall in love, you want to give good things to the person you love, and at the same time, you want to get important things from him or her. This back and forth of giving and receiving creates opportunities for compromise and growth. So now let's talk about compassion. Compassion is pure, unselfish care and concern, basic concern for someone, wanting the best for that person and doing or feeling something in response to the person's needs or troubles. You can just as well have compassion for a perfect stranger as you can for a lover. In fact, at times it's easier to have compassion for a stranger because you don't have a complicated history of turning to that stranger to get your needs met. Whether you help an elderly person to cross the street, or call 911 to report a fire in the neighborhood, or feel pity upon seeing someone cry. You would never expect or seek out something in return. However, it's harder to be selfless when you're in love. There, you might expect your partner to show you compassion in return for the acts of compassion that you feel you offer. You may even begin to keep score to see whether you're getting your fair share of compassion. Actually, though, that's not what compassion is. That's negotiation. Negotiating skills are important in any relationship, but they're not selfless. Since compassion is unselfish love, it isn't offered strategically according to what you think you'll get or should get in return. It's only offered out of being an authentically compassionate person and caring about others just because they're human. Of course, some people seem incapable of selfless love, while others definitely are incapable of it. Possibly they don't perceive profound goodness in anyone or anything but themselves. Maybe they're new souls and they're unevolved. Or maybe they ordinarily would be compassionate, but some kind of turmoil or confusion of the moment or of a long period of time in their lives clouds their capacity to see or respond to other people in a caring way. Paradoxically, while compassion is unselfish, building your ability and capacity to express compassion expands your sense of your own goodness. That, in turn, causes you to love and appreciate yourself more, for good reason. Passionate love, on the other hand, functions on the field of attraction and desire. Attraction, of course, is a feeling of wanting to move closer to someone or something because you sense something good that you can get from being there. Desire is a feeling that urges or drives you from within to obtain things and experiences you perceive as good. And passion describes intense desire or the intensity of your desire. Passionate desire is inherent in human nature. Nobody has to teach a newborn baby how to want things passionately enough to cry out for them. Whenever your needs and your partner's needs clash, you have to make a choice. It's not that one of you is bad and the other is good. You're both good, and needing things from each other is good because it keeps you wanting each other. But the problem with clashing needs is that you have to choose which good will win at any given moment. And sometimes one partner has stronger persuasive skills. Over time, if one partner wins out too often, the compromised partner's passion will shrink in proportion to the lack of compassionate consideration they feel they're receiving. In other words, whoever gets their way too often gradually loses their partner's passion. So ultimately, practicing fair play, taking turns instead of constantly competing with your partner to get your own way at your partner's expense, helps to keep your partner passionate about you. Passionate love is a wonderful thing. Still, focusing on passion is an incomplete strategy for relationship success in most relationships. Beyond clashing desires, desire itself can be fleeting. One day you passionately desire a private encounter. On another day, you really want to go out with your other friends. In some years, you're more passionate about your career or your golf game. So no matter how passionate you both feel about each other, and no matter how well you work and work out your conflicting desires, your passionate desire for your partner has to compete with lots of other desires and activities in life. Balancing all of that takes both good negotiating skills and compassionate concern. But clearly, what sparks passion in love is the excitement of wanting something really badly and seeing the possibility of getting it. I like to use professional basketball as an analogy, where games can be exciting and players have an intense desire to win. In basketball, the most exciting game is one that's really close, where both teams are outstanding and well matched. Similarly, in a love relationship, the most exciting relationships are the ones where the partners are outstanding lovers, in their own estimation, and well matched in their ability to give and get what they want from each other. In an exciting ball game, neither team scores at every single attempt. Similarly, in an exciting love relationship, neither partner gets everything they want or behaves perfectly at all times. The chance for mistakes makes a ball game or a love relationship more exciting, not less so, because the risk of failure keeps people on their toes. In an exciting ball game, when the ball is in play, players on the court are present, keenly aware of what's happening in the moment. They're generally not daydreaming or mulling over their weekly shopping list. They're paying focused attention and are fully engaged because they passionately want to get something, a goal, a win. Similarly, in an exciting love relationship, when partners spend quality time together, they're present with each other, experiencing life together in the moment, being real, and striving to be their best, whatever that means at the time. Whether the goal is to enjoy a lovely meal together, carry on a good conversation, or make passionate love. Partners who really want to get an exciting experience don't just go through the motions. Of course, people go through the motions together all the time, and that's okay too. But the point is, it's less exciting, and it doesn't stir up as much passion. In basketball, because of the intensity of the sport, players take periodic breaks during the game, at least at halftime, and also between games to regain their energy and avoid burnout. Similarly, partners in love need time and space away from each other so they can avoid relationship burnout, recoup their energy, allow their feelings of love to resonate, and generate a new round of desire. Moreover, the best, most exciting sports teams not only listen to their coaches, but also try hard to avoid past mistakes and learn new techniques and strategies for continuous self-improvement, all for the goal of winning the game and winning more games. Likewise, couples in love who are determined to keep things exciting do whatever they can to understand and avoid repeating past mistakes. They listen respectfully when their partner or a third party coaches them, and they keep an ear to the ground for new techniques and strategies for making the relationship better and more fun. So the common theme here is the passionate desire to use the game or the relationship as a way to experience your own goodness and be rewarded for it. When passion and compassion are out of balance, though, there's trouble. Too much compassion and not enough passion makes a relationship boring. Imagine watching a basketball game where each team member gets a turn dunking the ball and then hands over the ball to the opposing team to take a turn, making everything nice and polite. People in the stands watching a game like that might boo, walk out, and demand their money back because it's not exciting. Similarly, in a love relationship, compassion is critical, but if all you feel is compassion, you're not really in love in the romantic sense. An overly compassionate love relationship fizzles over time. At best, it turns into an old platonic friendship. At worst, it moves you toward love's existential opposite, apathy. At the other extreme, too much passion without enough compassion creates an overly competitive environment. In a basketball game, it would be like watching teams that spew hostility and break out in fights throughout the game, instead of just competing athletically while controlling their emotions like professionals. It might be an exciting game for some, but it would also create an emotionally toxic environment that brings out the worst in people and could incite fights in the stands or violence in the community. In a love relationship, people who constantly focus on getting their needs and desires met can be very demanding, hostile, and manipulative, bringing out the worst in their partners. Without enough compassion to counterbalance passion, your passionate love can turn to passionate anger or worse. Relationships like that can morph into a polarized love-hate scenario, complete with angry rants, resentments, lecturing, shaming and blaming, undermining, demonization, revenge, rage, and violence. Another way of looking at the dynamic opposites of compassion and passion is to view them energetically. The term dynamic refers to movement. Since compassion and passion are both good, you have to move back and forth between the two in order to get all the goodness possible from being in love. Compassion is stabilizing, but with compassion alone, you'll lose energy in the relationship as stability turns to stagnation. Passion involves movement, changing things up, but with passion alone, you'll have too much change, which will eventually destabilize the entire relationship. Despite the natural desire for change and novelty that we all enjoy, people crave lots of stability in life as in love. We may appreciate a roller coaster ride to break out of the monotony of a straitjacket schedule and a restrictive role, but only when we feel stable and secure enough, knowing that the roller coaster isn't designed to send us flying off the edge of a cliff at the end of the ride. Just imagine being in a traditional monogamous marriage and stepping into your bedroom only to be shocked to see your spouse cheating on you. In that situation, your partner would be following his or her passion way out of balance with any compassion for you or anyone. That could send you flying over the cliff's edge emotionally. Because passion can be incendiary, couples often choose to de-emphasize it. Yet, in our dreams, our ideal love relationship is filled with passion. The dream of passionate love motivates us to try and try again to find true love. Each couple has to find the balance that's right for them. A higher love is filled with passion, but passion that's counterbalanced by deep compassion. And it's up to each couple to find the balance that works best for them. In philosophy, the term for dynamic opposites is dialectics. The German philosopher Hegel famously talked about dialectics as the convergence of opposing forces to produce a third way. Students of Hegel describe this as thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. In love, the thesis would be compassion, because people think of compassion or unselfish goodwill as the main element of love. The antithesis would be your self-focused desires and passions, the things you want to get. The synthesis would be your collaborative, creative ways of integrating compassionate love with your various passionate desires as they emerge, and the personal growth that results. Practicing dialectics calls for ongoing creativity, both in and out of the bedroom. Karl Marx also wrote about dialectics in terms of societies. He said that the conflict of opposing forces in society generates change and progress, or in other words, the growth of a society. In love, you can see that the creative process of balancing your compassion with your ever-changing passions builds your self-knowledge and refines your character. In other words, learning to express your love and receive love in ways that make both you and your partner actually feel loved requires that you each grow and mature tremendously over time. Finally, I believe that the more maturity and wisdom you gain through the dialectics of life and love as you get older, the more attractive a person you'll become to those who matter to you. A perfect example of that is Socrates. Socrates was considered to be physically ugly, yet among his philosophical associates and students, those who mattered to him, Socrates was highly attractive. Friends liked to be around him. Maybe that was because of his confident wisdom, his strong character, his inspiring intelligence, and his ability to bring out the best, sharpest thinking in each of them with appropriate challenges. If you consider your own experience, when someone inspires you, brings out your best, and presents your next step forward, you probably enjoy being around that person. In that case, the person's physical attractiveness on some 1 to 10 scale probably doesn't matter quite so much. This key to attractiveness can serve us all well as we grow older and still hope to inspire the passion of another. So that's my lesson on the dynamic opposites of passion and compassion. I hope you'll join me again next time when I talk about love's complementary opposites. Good luck integrating this information in your own life, and goodbye for now.